all No Shave November's going well. Practically got a full beard. Yes guys, we are of course back with another video. Now I apologise for the lack of content over the last few days. Ran into some problems, nothing strange or weird. And yeah, motivation was lost, if I must admit. But it's been sorted now, so we're back on track and hopefully the video should be coming in. But I figure you don't want to hear me whining about that, so today's topic, guys, we're actually going to talk about some music now. When I say music, you probably think, okay, that's weird. What's music got to do with gore or anything controversial? Well, music can be quite controversial, and the band I'm talking about today, who by the way are still going, and they're a great band, don't get me wrong. I'm talking about Mayhem. Now Mayhem are a Norwegian black metal band found in 1984 by the guitarist Euronymous, bass guitarist Necrobutcher, and drummer Mayhem. In the early years of Mayhem, they'd either use session vocalists, or maybe Necrobutcher or Euronymous would sing, so they didn't actually have a specific singer up until 1987. Now in 1987, both Mannheim and Maniac, who was one of the session vocalists, actually quit the band. And 1988 saw the arrival of the singer known as Dead, who was also joined by Hellhammer, another drummer. So now we get into the juicy bits of what this whole video is about, and that's basically the performances of the band and a couple of controversies and happenings within the band. So let me just warn you that a few things might be quite graphic explanation wise. I mean, it's not too bad, but yeah, there's something coming up later on which I will again warn you about. So the performances, the live performances, were very graphic and very atmospheric. For example, you had pigs' heads on poles on the stage, and for some strange reason, Dead, the new singer, buried his clothes for a few weeks and then unearthed them and then covered the decayed clothes in like dirt and insects and all sorts of shit. They'd also throw pieces of rotting meat into the audience for them to do whatever they want with it, I suppose. You know, tear it, throw it at other people, or even eat it, which, yeah, wouldn't recommend eating rotting meat. Raw rotting meat, that's just a recipe for disaster. They also placed dead ravens into bags so that the lead singer Dead could smell death and decay. And perhaps the most controversial thing about the band's live performances was that the members would sometimes cut themselves on stage. And yeah, graphic content warning, I'm going to show you part of one of the performances. So now I'm going to talk about the first controversial thing, or the second controversial thing that this band did, which was unfortunately related to the suicide of Dead. Just 3 years after joining the band, Dead ended up committing suicide. He basically cut his wrists with a knife and then shot himself in the head with a shotgun. His body was found by the guitarist Euronymous, and next to his body there was a suicide note that said, "Excuse all the blood." Now if you were to go into a room and find your dead bandmate's body after a suicide, what's the first thing you'd do? Me personally, you'd call someone. You'd probably freak out about it, but not Euronymous. What Euronymous decided to do was take a picture of Dead's lifeless body and send it to the bandmates. And gore warning, this is the album that one of the pictures of Dead was used for. And let me say something here. It's a brilliant album, okay? It's a brilliant album, but the artwork is, yeah, very metal. Now, after this album was released, it was basically, I think it was like a live album or something like that. Now, after this album was released, people actually started saying things about the band. One of these rumours was that Euronymous actually cooked and ate part of Dead's brain, and that pieces of his skull were worn around the other band members' necks as necklaces, which is apparently true. Now, all of this, of course, sparked a lot of attention from media and the police, and not long after this, bass guitarist Necro Butcher left the band. Now, both Dead and Necro Butcher were replaced by a man called Occultus, and he'd basically sing and play bass in the band for a while, but left not long after he got there. And now we come to our third and final controversy, I suppose, and this is a very popular name. The new bassist came in, and the man I'm talking about is, of course, Varg Vikernes, or however you say it. So 2 years after Dead's suicide, on August the 10th, 1993, Varg, however you pronounce it, I do apologise, murdered Euronymous in his apartment. And it was well known that these two just didn't like each other from the off. You know, there was most likely jealousy over a girl, jealousy over Euronymous being higher up in the band, I suppose, and also the fact that apparently Euronymous owed Vikernes some money. So Euronymous was basically found in his underwear with a knife wound, and it was definitely well known that this was, of course, the doing of Vikernes. He basically came to trial with his hair in pigtails. He laughed throughout the trial, and he was eventually sentenced to 21 years in prison for the murder of Euronymous, which is apparently the most amount of years you can spend in prison in Norway, and I'm hoping that's true. And it's also known that when police went to search the house of Vikernes, he was also found with 150 kilo of dynamite and intended to destroy a church known as, I'm going to say this completely wrong, Nidarosdomen, I think it's pronounced. I'll put it up in text here. Nidarosdomen. That sounds about right. So, as any family would do, they asked the rest of the band to basically remove Vikernes' bass parts out of the band's music, but because they had nobody else to play bass, they didn't actually end up doing that. So, unfortunately, the sections of bass you might hear in some of Mayhem's songs are actually original parts from Vikernes himself. Now, to finish off with some good news about the band, obviously I quite like this band. I've listened to a few of the songs and they're still going today and they're going strong. Now, they've been inducted into the Rockheim Hall of Fame as of late, and they're the only black metal band to have been inducted, which I find absolutely amazing. So, with that, guys, let me know if you've ever been to a Mayhem concert, and let me know what your experience was watching a performance by this band. I can imagine it being very, very atmospheric, especially when Dead was within the band. I can't even imagine that happening these days. So yeah, let me know if you've been to a Mayhem concert, and yeah, I'll read everything. Now, I hope you've enjoyed this one, guys. Like I say, I haven't really been up to date with my uploading schedule, but here we are. That's Mayhem. Thanks for watching, guys. If you want, like, subscribe, maybe click that little bell down below. Thanks for watching. and I will see you in the next episode. Stay safe, guys. Bye.